What's a secret you won't share with anyone in person, but you are willing to share anonymously? We want to make everyone aware that if you need help, resources are available. There/r sites where well-meaning and sympathetic people will try and help, but be aware they aren't trained. The BEFRIENDERS.org website is a global list of local suicide help charities. You can use it to find a hotline in your country that you can call or email them for free. They'll speak to you and try and help you without being judgmental. I am a bot. Please contact the moderators of /r Ask Reddit if you have any questions or concerns. When I was about 9, I went over to neighbor's house. I would usually go hang out with my adult neighbors because they would let me watch TV and give me snacks in exchange for helping them, with the intention of seeing if I could play with the foster puppies she had. Well, she was in there, but her door was unlocked and I just went in and played with the puppies. When I walked out of the house, she was coming down the driveway. There was a bunch of stuff in front of her door blocking it from view from the driveway. I just pretending like I had been waiting for a minute and we walked in and I got to play with the puppies again. When I was very young, I'd put my mom's vibrator in my mouth and turn it on because it felt funny. What the fuck is wrong with me? Edit. Didn't expect this to blow up. I'm a guy. Didn't know what it was used for. I don't remember the taste. It didn't leave any impression on me. I was doing it because of vibrating sensation, not the taste. I'm pretty sure it was clean. Or at least that's what I'm telling to myself all these years. Never have I shared this with anyone, even my shrink. Back when I was 17, my parents had recently split up. My mom walked out. My sister, only sibling, was already in college across the country. I lived with my dad at the time, and he was the only family member I had within 1,500 miles. It was Christmas Eve. My father was gradually getting worse in the ICU. I had already been dealing with him not paying bills, etc. We didn't have heat on in the house in the middle of winter. I was a mess at the time, only having my beloved dog with me. It was about 48 degrees in our house, so her and I stayed in my bedroom where I had a space heater. I tried to OD. I drank near a fifth of whiskey, took a few Xanax and morphine. I remember crying my eyes out Christmas Eve, asking for my dog's forgiveness if I didn't wake up, and for anyone to help me. I awoke 14 hours later to my dog whimpering and nudging me. When I woke up, it was the strangest feeling I've ever had, like I was meant to be here, and nothing will stop me. I'll never tell a soul, as I highly ashamed of considering taking the easy route out. I spent Christmas Day alone with my dog, holding her for the majority of the day. She didn't leave my side once during my slumber in the day. It like she knew something was really wrong with me. I still have my girl to this day. I always thank her in my head for keeping me going, or I would have woken up and attempted it again if I didn't have her. Edit. Thank you, kind stranger, for the gold, as well as everyone's touching comments. This story has been something that has shaped and molded me into something stronger. I've taken my struggles and have tried to look at them as a blessing instead of a burden. We all have our own issues in this world, but don't ever be too ashamed to reach out. I wish I had before this story took place, but I was too embarrassed and ashamed of my situation, since many have been asking for a doggo photo. https:/2fq2jfz. She is the good girl on the left. I used to comb my ass hairs with my sister's styling comb when she would piss me off. I think that I am beginning to hallucinate every once in a while. It's mostly little things that are there, and then they aren't. My last relationship ended because she was cheating with another man. The other man was her dad. Edit. In regards to how I found out, I can share the gory details as they're pretty identifying. What I do want to say is that it was nothing visible physically. They wouldn't kiss on the lips or do anything that someone could brush off as European friendly. I also never witnessed anything physical happening between them with my own eyes. The proof was in the place where you'd expect it to be in today's day and age, an electronic device. Edit 2. With the amount of messages I've gotten asking is her name, it doesn't matter what her name is. If that's a person you know, and they're dealing with something like this, help them in any way you can. Final edit. Here's the Emma. Pretty sure I'm obsessed with being in a relationship, and I've started finding any woman that talks to me attractive. My mom abused me for my entire childhood by either being active in the mistreatment, or being silent and allowing her boyfriend to do it. Fast forward to now, her mental health issues are taking a toll. She is a drunk, meth user, and gambling addict. When she calls me, it is like someone I don't even know. Last week she was in the hospital for a heart attack, and I really wish she would just die. I lost her when I was a kid. I feel like this other is an imposter, and I just want it to die and for her. And I'm not gonna lie, my pain to end. Edit. I just want to say that the response to this post has been a mixture of sadness and happiness for me. I would like to give a somewhat brief overview to my story, and perhaps it will help others. I don't remember when the abuse started, but my earliest memories are of it occurring. Here is a funny joke. What does someone who wears glasses and someone who is abused from an early age have in common? They think how they see the world is normal. I never thought to question anything, ever. For a number of years, I was a quiet child and didn't make many friends because people scared me. By the time I realized something was terribly wrong in my household, I refused to let the few friends I did have over. I have a very vivid memory of being small. I must have been around 4, because my younger brother was an infant. My mother had taken the 3 of us into one of the bedrooms and locked the door while her boyfriend smashed things downstairs, and was just losing his mind. He was a meth head too. He had a cattle prod and I could hear the crackling of the electricity through the walls. My mom had burns from it all over her arms. She asked me, a small child, if I would call the police if he broke in. I started crying and begged her to please not make me, that I would get in trouble, and he would hurt me, and I was scared. She asked me, do you want me to die? Those words are so clear in my mind, I can still hear it perfectly. To this day I have nightmares of having to call 911, and not being able to speak, or pushing the wrong buttons. The abuse became worse. Every trip to the hospital was an accident. Every public outburst was treated as a parent having to wrangle an unruly young kid. I tried to run away in the winter. I packed some clothes in my little backpack and went out onto the ice of a river near our house. I laid down out in the middle, in the cold, and daydreamed, just watching the snow fall down. I was nice and warm in my coat and multi-layered pants. My parents would never buy a snowsuit for me, but I went back because I was scared of what would happen to my mom. Her boyfriend always told me that if I ran away, he would kill her and my brother, and keep me alive so that I would have the memory. I stayed until I was 14 and he tried to drown me in dirty dishwater. I ran and started living at a friend's house. My mom would call constantly, begging me to come back, that things had gotten so much worse for her. But I was too afraid, and the guilt piled up. He ended up leaving when I was 18. I have not talked to him since. I consider the time I was around him like a terrible, horrible nightmare. My mother spiraled. What was once a functional alcoholic turned into a complete mess. She turned to prostitution to subsidize her addiction. She lived on the streets, and every time I moved and slowly got better, she would call and ask for money. I gave in to that for a long time. I was hospitalized and diagnosed with a number of mental disorders. She called me a malingerer, and that my pain was nothing in comparison to her own. I got married and had 2 wonderful children. She tells me my husband will leave because I am crazy, that my children will grow to be addicts, and that I am her clone, that I can't escape it. She is like a voice in my head, berating me, while at the same time working her way back in like some sort of abusive spouse. When I listen to music intended for exes, it makes me think of her. Adele's Hello is about my mom for me. To everyone who has dealt with a similar situation, you are amazing. You are strong. You will get through this. When I was young, every fucking day was hell. I thought it would never fucking end, but it did. It will get better. You just have to make it better. I love you all. I don't know who the hell you are, or what you have been through, but I love you. More edit. To every comment that said I won't read your comment, I do. I read every one. Keep them coming. It's just dinner time, and I have to make my children foods, so I can respond right away. Another edit. To the people saying, I didn't have it this bad, or wow, what I went through is nothing in comparison. Stop it. You just stop it right now. You have pain. You are allowed to feel it without feeling bad and comparing it to another person's pain and suffering. We don't sit around comparing our joys, do we? You don't win $100 off of a scratch ticket and immediately tell yourself, well, this is stupid. I don't have as much money as Bill Gates. Your suffering is just as goddamn legitimate as mine, because it's you who felt it. A little more than 3 months ago, my fiancé, who I been with for the past 15 years, was killed in a car accident 2,000 miles away. I literally have nothing. Now, I'm so depressed that every time I see someone happy on social media of any kind, I get closer and closer to killing myself. My therapist is unable to help me. No one is. Everyone keeps telling me it gets better, but it only gets worse. I don't want to kill myself. I just don't want to be alive anymore, because every fucking minute of life is absolute hell. Edit. Additional thoughts. I'm also struggling with the anger toward the guy who took her from me. The moron who plowed through 3 cars in this truck. Every goddamn day I struggle against my own thirst for vengeance. Edit 2. Thanks for the support, guys. Still sifting through the hundreds of replies and PMs, my inbox hurts. It is a little better to know that I really am not alone. Not just that people I don't know and have never met support me and wish me well, but also that others have gone through nearly the same crucible and survived it. The very idea of hope is like a foreign word to me right now, but it's a little less insane sounding to me now.